Welcome to the Retirementality. This is a channel where we talk about changing your mentality about retirement, mostly through real estate investing, through personal finance, through vacation rentals, through property rentals, through investing, and all kinds of different things. But today, I think this is going to be a fun video. I'm standing here in my backyard, and what this is going to be, I'm going to take you guys on a tour of my whole property portfolio, all the properties that I currently own, plus the two that I've sold here in Panama City Beach. I'm going to take you guys around. I'm going to show you all of them. I'm going to talk about the numbers. If you stay all the way to the end, I'll do a little spreadsheet. I'll show you what I paid for them. I'll show you what they're worth now. So hopefully you'll stay for that. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please consider doing that. And if you subscribe, ring the bell down there. That lets you know every time I put out a video, so you won't miss any of this wonderful content. And don't forget to smash that like button if you do in fact like this video. I hope that you will. And let me know if you do in the comments down below if you enjoy these property tours. But without further ado, here we go. Let's see all the properties I own. I thought it would be fun to do a little journey of my real estate through Panama City Beach, where I started. So this is where it all started. That is right here. This is the first house I bought when I moved here. They need to paint it. It's looking a little rough right now. But when we first moved here, we paid $100,000 for this little house. It's right around 800 square feet. And we paid $100 for it. And we lived there for, I don't know how long, like 4 or 5 years. And we sold it for $160,000. It's got a cute little backyard back there. We put a hot tub in back there. This was a good little house. We're just a block from the beach. You just right across the beach over here, or across the street. And that was our first house that we bought. And I think we put about $25,000 into it when we bought it. So I was into that house. Maybe let's say I was into that house for about $130,000. I got to put my glasses on so I can see while I'm driving. So I went, like I say, we sold it for $160,000, and a year after we bought that house, we bought a duplex because we didn't buy the biggest house we could afford. We bought the smallest house we could afford and kept our payment low, so we were able to save enough money the next year to buy the duplex. And when we bought the duplex, we paid $125,000 for the duplex, and both sides of it were rented. We had a police officer in one side, and the dispatcher for the police department lived in the other side. And I think we were getting $750 for each side of the duplex. And we put 20% down, I think, when we bought the duplex. So I think our payment was around $750. So basically, one side of the duplex was paying the mortgage, and the other side of the duplex was our profit. And actually, the $750 profit we were getting paid, I think our payment on that first house I just showed you, I think our payment was around $600 or $650. So we were actually covering our mortgage, plus we were making $100. And so this is the duplex. This is the second house that we bought. I've got both sides of it rented right now. I'm getting $1,100 on this side, and I just put a new renter in here last week. I was getting $1,000, and I just raised the price to $1,500. So I'm getting $1,100 on one side and $1,500 on the other side, and my payment is still about $750. So what's $1,100 plus $1,500? That is $2,600, and my payment's gone up a little bit because my insurance and things have gone up. So maybe let's call it $850. So 26 minus 8 is, I'm making about $1,800 a month profit off of that house right now. And that is all of the property I own on this side of the beach. So I'll take you and show you what our third property was next. So this is actually the third unit that I bought, and it was a for sale by owner. And I told the guy I actually came here to try to get the listing as a real estate agent, but the guy said he didn't like realtors and he didn't want to deal with the real estate agent. And I told him he was priced below market value, but he didn't care, so I actually ended up buying it from the guy, and I paid $125 for this unit, and all I had to do was buy new furniture and replace the countertops, which I just did with like a Formica. So I didn't hardly put any money into this. So I'm into this one for like $130. I did redo the stucco here, and I put a new deck on it. The wood was bad. So that's what I paid for this one. And then after I bought that, I went about a mile down the road and I bought a lot that was for sale down there, which I'll take you and show you that lot next. The lighting is horrible. So I'm sitting here in front of the lot that I bought. I'll just turn the camera around like this. It's just a jungle full of bees. The lady across the street is also a beekeeper. But this is the lot that I bought and sold. I paid $60,000 for this lot, and I sold it, I believe, for $145,000, I think 3 years later. So I paid $60,000, and then obviously I paid real estate taxes over those 3 years, which I think were $1,000 or less, probably, the real estate taxes. And yeah, then I sold it for $140,000. We're gonna build on this. There's actually a little lake back there. I'll show you if you can see it better. Can you see the lake from here? Kind of. Maybe you can only see my fingers. So there's the lake back there. But then after we ended up buying the house that I'm working on right now that just flooded, we decided we didn't need to build a house. We went back and forth if we wanted to build a vacation rental on this lot or if we wanted to build a house for us. So anyway, we put a for sale sign up and we had lots of lowball offers. I'm kind of regretting selling it now because prices are getting so stupid crazy on lots right now. I just looked, I sold it for $145 2 months ago, and I just looked on the MLS last night, and the lowest, I mean, everything listed over here that's not as close as mine is to the beach and not on a lake, they're all listed in the $150,000 to $200,000 price range. That doesn't mean they're going to get those prices, but when everybody's priced the same, they all seem to have priced their houses. I'm going to go this way, and then maybe should I went the other way? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out which way I should be to have the house be on the right side for film. Okay, so after I bought the lot, about a year later, this was the third property that I bought. It's number 2, is what we call it. Anyway, so that was the third one that I bought. So then one day during a tropical storm, the roof of number 3 started to leak, and it was getting water into my unit. And I called the guy. He lived in Alabama, and he came down here, and he was just like, man, I'm so sick of this house. I don't want it anymore. I hate the beach. I hate this house. So he ended up selling it to me for super cheap. So I picked this one up for $75,000, and this one I had to gut the whole inside of it, and I put about another $60,000 into the remodel on this one. So at the end here, I'll go back through and I'll tell you what everything is worth now and how much I get for rents. So I paid $125 for this one, and into it for about $130, $135 with work I did. With this one, I'm into it for about the same, $135, I think. So I'm driving you over to the next house that I bought. And this is a house that we call the Tiki house because I, for a long time, had a dream to do a house in a Tiki theme. And here we are. This is the Tiki house. You can see my Tiki mailbox. It's actually rented right now, but I can't take you in there. But what I can do is maybe I shot some footage of it the other day. I can link in here. But this house, I'll have to look in the records. I think I paid $220 for this house, and then I totally gutted it. It had shag carpet and green appliances, and everything was 1960 in here. And the house had been actually vacant. It's horrible. The house had been vacant for like 10 years, so I put about $100,000 into the remodel. I'll put some of that footage in here for you. So I'm about I also had to put a new septic tank in here. After I was finished with the remodel, the septic tank failed. That was another 10 grand. So I'm into this house probably, I'd say about 320. And then I'll take you on to the next house that we bought. Okay, so this is the next house that I purchased. This is actually my house, and it's not exactly the best time to give you a property tour because we had a little bit of a flooding issue, but I'll take you in here. We'll walk through the house. I think I paid $220 for this house. Again, I put 20% down, so I owed around $180. And Hurricane Sally just flooded the house, so that's why it looks like this, where we had to gut everything. All the drywall had to come out, all the insulation had to come out. I've got most of the sheetrock back up. We found a few issues like plumbing leak and that when the shower was running, and we found some termites over there. But I won't get too far into it. I've got a whole nother video that I'll link to up here if you want to see the series about my house flooded and putting this back together and how the remodel job is going. So that's this house. It's 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. It's about 2,200 square feet. It sits on this cute little lake, and then right behind the lake, right back there, is the beach. So we're just across the street from the beach and on a lake. So I have lake life, beach life, all at the same time. I love this little location. So then the next house we purchased after this was my house in Puerto Rico, and obviously I can't drive over there to show you the next property. So we'll just come down here on my dock and talk about it. Also, the flood raised my dock up, so it's all wonky and crooked. But anyway, the house in Puerto Rico, I paid $135,000 for that. And I do have some videos on the Puerto Rico house if you're interested in Puerto Rico property. I'll put a link to that up here. The first one I did was called We Bought a House in Puerto Rico. And then there's some follow-up videos about the remodel job and the cost of the house and all that if you're interested in that. So there's a link here. So anyway, but I paid $135 for the house in Puerto Rico, and the remodel budget is around $40,000. Maybe it'll go up to $50, but we're hoping to keep it at about $40. So that would be $175 into that house, and then we were planning to put a pool in over there. But this little flooding construction job here is probably going to eat up my pool budget. I don't know if we're going to be able to put a pool there or not. Sorry, I'm a mess. I don't really care what I look like in these videos anymore because all this stuff I got going on. Just want to tell you the information. So anyway, so that's the Puerto Rico story. That's the last house that we bought. And so now I'll go in and I'll try to maybe kind of tally everything up. And I'll show you what we paid for everything and what everything is worth now. I'm going to probably leave mortgages and stuff out of it. I'm going to make this a video about my net worth, just about the property that I own. So I'll show you that. So I'll show you all that right now. Okay, y'all, I don't know if this is going to work or not. I tried to download this into a PDF and then put it into the video and it didn't work. So I'm going to just video on my computer screen here and we're going to see if this works. So anyway, the duplex I paid $125 for and it's currently worth $270. The townhouse, the first one, I paid also $125 for that. It's currently worth about $250. The second townhouse that I bought, which the unit number is 3, that's why I put it as 3. I put $135. That's my purchase price plus my remodel cost, and it should be worth a little bit more, but I'm going to put that one at $265 since it's all nice and new. And then the tiki house, I also put the purchase price plus the remodel cost here because these two houses I couldn't rent until I remodeled them. Even though I put a little money into this one and this one over time, I'm not going to include all that money. This is just the purchase price to get it going. Same with this one. And so purchase price plus construction on the tiki house was around $320 and it's currently worth about $465. And then my house, I paid $220 for it. I didn't have to put any money into it, and it's currently worth about $450. And then the Puerto Rico house, again here I put the purchase price plus the remodel cost because it did need to be remodeled in order to rent it. And I don't really know, it's a really uncertain what that's worth. I know it's going to be worth more than what I've got into it. So I'm just going to guess it's going to be around $225. This number could be higher. I don't think it would be lower. Okay, so total of what I've paid for everything, $1.1 million. And the current value of everything, $1.9 million. But I think $1.925. I think we can round that to 2 when I tell people for bragging rights that I own $2 million in real estate. I think I'm being pretty realistic with these numbers. So that's where I'm at now.
And I'm not going to get into a whole video about leverage, but if you just were to assume that I put 20% down on all of these properties, 20% of 1.1 million is about 220,000. So that would mean I put about 200,000. I spent out of my pocket about 200,000 to have 2 million in real estate. So let's go one step further. I just broke out my calculator. If you would just assumed that I put 20% down on each one of these properties, that would be $880,000. So if I subtracted 880,000 from 1.9 million, that would mean I had a net worth of around 1.1 million or somewhere in that range.
Okay, so that's it. That is my real estate journey. Shows you everything I bought since I've been in Panama City Beach and beyond. It doesn't include the real estate journey that I went on where I went broke in 2008 and before. But starting over from scratch after I'd already gone broke once, that is how I did it, buying one property every year, including the one that I sold. That's the only property that I've sold. Everything else I still own. So I hope this was interesting to you. If it was, please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. And if you subscribe, ring that bell down there. It will let you know every time I put out a video, and it also really helps the YouTube algorithm know that my videos are important. Also, hitting that like button helps with that as well. So if you wouldn't mind, if you like this video and you want to see more of it, please do that. And leave me a comment. Let me know what your journey has looked like, or if you're just starting or where you are on your journey. I'd love to keep the conversation going, and we will see you in the next video.